Hi there. So I'm going to start off this video the same way as I did the last one, walking away from the sun so that it's in your face. Anyway, as you can see, it is another gloriously warm, unseasonably warm, shall we say, fall day in southern Ontario, November the 10th. And it is 25 degrees. Amazing, eh? Look at t-shirt weather. Look at that. T-shirt. Amazing, eh? In November. My memories on Facebook showed me a post from 2 years ago on this exact day when I was out walking in a foot of snow. So there's the difference for you. Anyway, I am overjoyed, shall we say, that I can walk out here in a t-shirt and enjoy this beautiful late sunny afternoon by shooting this video for you. And today I want to talk about the ways that we go about behaving in the world when outside events and circumstances take place. How do we behave? Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a few days actually, and there are four R words that I want to discuss with you today. The first two of these fall into the subconscious, automated, programmed way of being in the world, and the other two are conscious and volitional, choice-enabled ways of being in the world. Okay, so the first of the first two is called reflex, right? And you know what reflex is. You go to the doctor, sit in the chair, he taps your leg right below the kneecap, and your leg responds automatically. Flicks out, kicks a little bit. That's reflex, right? Okay, so we all have a reflex action in many different ways, not just that, but mostly reflex is physiology, right? Tiger jumps, I'm walking through the woods. We don't have tigers in southern Ontario, but let's say we do have a few cougars. Not very many, very rare, but a few. Let's say I'm walking here on this path and a cougar jumps out. Well, my reflex would be to immediately move into fight or flight, right? That would be my reflex, just an automated response. Okay, so I mean, on different levels, there's different ways. We're driving down the road and the guy in front of us slams on his brakes. Experienced drivers automatically step on their own brakes just by reflex action, right? Okay, unconscious, subconscious way of being in the world, just automated responses, right? Either we trained them in ourselves or our body's built in with them, and that's just the way it is, right? Reflex. Okay, the next level, still unconscious and subconscious to the great degree, is called reaction. Okay, beginning drivers, for example, the guy in front of them steps on the brakes suddenly, slams on the brakes. They actually have to take a second, half a second, a millisecond, whatever, in order to slam on the brakes. It's not an automated reflex action. It's more of a slow-mo reaction, right? So it's still reaction. It's not really, doesn't involve volition or conscious thought. Okay, so those are the two unconscious ways of behaving in the world. Reflex and reaction. Okay, now conscious ways of being in the world. 2 R's as well. The first one is to reflect, to stop, to observe, to step out of oneself, look at the available information in an intellectual, critically thinking way, and reflect upon the information that's available to us. Which, you know, in case that mountain lion puma jumps out on the path ahead of me, is not really the best way to react. But when most of the things that happen in our lives go on, those outside events and circumstances, it's always good to be able to reflect upon what's happening, take in all the information we need, in order to make a decision and then choose the way that we're going to behave, right? Okay, so that's a little higher level cognitive choice, conscious way of behaving in the world, to reflect upon what's happening. Okay, and then finally, what comes out of that reflection is the fourth R, to respond. Okay, to respond rather than react. Reacting being unconscious, responding being conscious choice, right? So I'm going to respond to something that's happening in my own way, with my own reflection, intellectual capacity, thinking capacity, relative control over my emotional states, and respond in a way that serves me, that actually is to my benefit, right? Okay, so there we have it. Reflex, react, reflect, respond. All right. Obviously, intentional ways of responding to things other than dire emergencies, like that tiger, that puma jumping out of the bush at me, are the best way to behave in the world, because you are in control of yourself. Yesterday I talked about sovereignty, personal sovereignty. Today I'm talking about being able to behave as a fully functional adult human being. Okay. These days, if you look around, masses of people, and of course masses of people behave in ways that individual people do not behave. Mob mentality is a well-known psychological state. But masses of people are behaving in ways that they are essentially unconscious of how they're behaving, right? They're responding, they're in reflex mode, right? Something happens and they're just like zapped into this reflex, automated reflex. Or something happens and they react in ways that they've been taught to react, maybe for their own safety, maybe because it's been programmed into them that this is the way they're supposed to react to a given set of circumstances, right? And then there are those who choose to look at what's going on in the world around them, take in all the information that's happening, that's visible, that's apparent, because we can't see all of it, obviously, but take in all the information that's available to us and choose, after reflecting upon that information, that knowledge, putting it into a certain perspective that we can use to come to a, not just a logical conclusion, but a conclusion that works to our benefit, right? To say that this, the way I need to behave in response to this situation, this set of circumstances, this information, is this way. This is what best suits me, is good for me, right? All right, to reflect. And then, of course, the response. So I want to dwell on the idea of responding in response, right? There's a great word in the English dictionary that a lot of people don't like too much because they consider it to be synonymous with blame. But that word is responsibility. Break it down, it's response ability, the ability to respond. So that's really the highest state of behaving in response to, in reaction to, in reflex to what's going on around you in the world, right? Whether that's, some anonymous star 100 light years away going supernova, you don't know about that, it's just out there. Or whether it's your company going under and you being unemployed, or whether it's whatever's been going on in the world for this wonderful year of 2020, all of that stuff, not just viruses and whatnot, physical viruses, but also mental viruses and political situations and stuff like that. How are you behaving in response to all of that information, right? Information that's being dumped on you, right? What is your response ability, right, towards that? Are you behaving in ways that are of benefit to you ultimately, Or are you behaving in ways that are not of benefit to you, right? That's the question for you. Are you just automated responses, reflex and react? Or are you reflecting and responding according to what your ideals are, what your principles are, what you think is best for you, how you can best play the game of life, thrive, exist in a beneficial way for yourself, your family, your community, the world itself? How are you responding, right? Okay, I think that's about enough for today. The 4 R's, the 4 R's of being in the world, right? Reflex, react, reflect, respond. And out of response comes the ability to respond, responsibility. So choose how you're going to behave in the world. Up to you. Love you all. Ciao for now.